The headlines, the last so many days, we've seen this menace causing a lot of inconvenience to the passengers, to the airlines concerned. And now, in the latest, Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu says hoax calls will be made a cognizable offence and perpetrators will be added to the no-fly list. A host of big announcement made by the minister there, who also says that the Civil Aviation Ministry has sent its inputs to other ministries for consultation. So there's a big update coming in on part of the Civil Aviation Minister. Let's quickly take you through the big announcements that have been made, the kind of decisions that the ministry is contemplating on. The Aviation Minister vowing action. He says we will make hoax calls a cognizable offence. Then goes on to talk about how safety is of topmost priority. All calls are reported. He says Law Ministry is being consulted on several amendments. In fact, went on to then talk about the multiple meetings between the BCAS, MHA officials and how strict protocol is being followed on receiving these threat calls. Like I said, a host of important announcements made by the Civil Aviation Minister, given the manner in which we've seen several hoax bomb threats being made to the airlines. On Sunday itself, 20 such calls were reported, and that has prompted the Civil Aviation Minister now to swing into action and really take this forward at the highest level. He says this will be a cognizable offence which calls for punishment and penalty, and he wants this amendment as soon as possible. So that's the Civil Aviation Minister making the ministry's intent amply clear. He says regarding the Act legislation, we want to do it as soon as possible. Investigations also, he says, are underway. But as far as investigations are concerned, he wants to only break his silence with regards to any of that once there is a finality on the same that the Civil Aviation Minister can speak on. Let me go across to Payal Mehta, my colleague, joining us with more details. Payal, tell us a little bit about the manner in which the Civil Aviation Minister, Mr. Naidu, has come out to make some very pertinent point with regards to these repeated hoax bomb threats and what the ministry essentially plans to do going forward.
Of course, to begin with, if you have to take any action, that has to be done by way of amendment of the law as well. That is exactly what Mr. Ram Mohan Naidu really said. As of now, if you cause any kind of a ruckus within the flight premises, the laws are in place that you can actually be, pulled up and you can actually be put up on the do not fly list and, no fly list as well. But there is no alternative which is available for any kind of an offence within the premises of the airport, etc. So that amendment is something which he is working on. His ministry has already given its suggestions to the concerned ministry, which is of course the Law and Justice Ministry, and of course other ministries have also been consulted. The suggestion that the Civil Aviation Ministry also has on other laws concerning the air safety, for example, the SUAS law is something also which is under consideration. So that is being done as well, because Ram Mohan Naidu over there, it's been making a very, very pertinent point that, passenger safety is paramount and it's non-compromisable as well. So obviously, as far as the offences are concerned, not only do you have cognizable offences in terms of, you being put under the, put behind the bar if found guilty, but also the fact that it could be also penal, there could also be a penal action against it. There could also be a penalty attached to it for making such offences as well, because what has come out so far is extremely disturbing, with 15 to 20 cases coming out. Just about yesterday itself was very, very disturbing. It impacts not just the airlines and the airline conducting people, but also the public at large who are looking to fly to a particular destination by a set period of time as well. So the agencies are in no way able to, take anything to chance or leave anything to chance, given the fact that should there be, God forbid, any episode which is gone, which goes uninvestigated, that can actually play with public health as well. So obviously consultations have happened between the Ministry of Home Affairs, between the Ministry and Civil Aviation Affairs, and of course the other concerned ministries, other security agencies, including the CISF and BCAS, which is of course the regulatory authority for the safety as far as the Aviation Ministry is really concerned.
Okay, Payal, many thanks for breaking down all of those very important details. I want to go across to my colleague Arunima as well. Arunima, very important given the manner in which, on Sunday we saw 15 to 20 such calls being made. The whole of this week we've seen at least 70 such hoax bomb threats being made to different airlines, and that's why this is the need of the hour. But what's interesting is with Ram Mohan Naidu not just speaking of the host of meetings that have taken place the last 1 week, but also talking about the amendment that is being thought of, legislative amendment that is being thought of by the Civil Aviation Ministry.
Yes, and we broke this story first on Friday that the Suppression of Civil Aviation Security Act of 1982 is being amended. We told our viewers that Section 3D, subsection 2D of Section 3 is being amended. Why is this amendment important? If you read Section 3, it talks about offence of committing violence on board an aircraft, in flight, etc. Subsection 2 of this particular act talks about whether an attempt to commit or abet the commission of any offence while you are on board or inside the flight. And then section D of this talks about the attempt to endanger the life of anybody in the flight through your communication. But this is also on board. So if any of these acts are taken by somebody who's inside the aircraft, who's flying in the aircraft, then this particular law would have taken care of that. After these hoax call menace started, some of the callers were tracked down to London, Germany. There is suspicion that from inside India also such calls are being posted, such calls are being made. So a need was felt for a deterrent, a law which will deter any such offender, and therefore this amendment is being proposed. If someone is found guilty, then under this law you can be given a fine and up to life imprisonment by a court of law. So that's why this proposal has been made by the Ministry of Civil Aviation. The Union Home Ministry and the Law Ministry, Law and Justice, are currently looking at the proposal. But BCAS, CISF, Union Home Ministry, the Intelligence Bureau, they're all seized of the investigation wing as well, looking at intelligence gathering and looking at the investigation part also as to how to make passenger flying experience safe and secure.